syndicate program.
Whoa! Good morning. Welcome back to another Blitz Barracks live stream. I'm Tommy. Welcome back to Blitz Transmissions. Dude, I was sitting here, I was making this really cool slideshow for today's stream, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, we're just gonna keep going with this little wish list, blah, blah, blah. And I started getting, as I do with everything, started getting way too into it. And then next thing I know, it's 12 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's not good. Also, shout out to my buddy, my sweet doggy Cody, just crawled under the desk here, laying his little doggy bed. But hello everyone, how are we doing? Before we get into the stream, I'll just give a brief moment to explain what Blitz Barracks is. It's the monthly live stream series that I do on the last Sunday of every single month. And this month, my work schedule played out that I did this stream in the morning, or for some of you guys, technically for me, it's the afternoon now. It's, you know, usually I do them in the evening, but with my work schedule this month, it just panned out I had to do it in the morning. But that is why I don't have a weekly live stream series here on Blitz Transmissions, because my work schedule is crazy and very unpredictable, and I could not sustain a weekly live stream series. That's why you got to go over to the Sarlacc Digest podcast YouTube channel. But let's take a look. We got fine folks in the chat already. You guys have been in here since a couple hours ago now. We got the Max Rebo Experience. He's first until someone else becomes first. Of course, if you look at the little badge next to Max Rebo's name, he is a Rancor Battalion channel member. You can check out the Rancor Battalion channel membership here on YouTube. You get exclusive badges, priority replies in the comment section, access to exclusive emojis here in chat, and other cool benefits as well, like early reviews here on YouTube. If you want all that stuff for 99 cents a month, consider becoming a member of the Rancor Battalion. And, of course, Max Rebo is also an ARC Trooper in the Patreon. If you want to get access to some awesome benefits like all the content early, monthly giveaways, and more, check out the ARC Trooper tier of the Patreon. Moving on, we got Movie Toy Tuber 8090 Cloner. We got Commander Bly. We got, who else? We got Tom Harris in here. How we doing this morning? Late! I knew, dude, as soon as it hit 12:01, I was like, oh, yep. They're going to start spamming late in the chat. And then, who else we got in here? We got my new editor-in-chief, Michael. What's going on, dude? Welcome in, welcome in. William Rodriguez, welcome into the chat here. We got Douglas Gonk. Trey Rich, what up, dude? And we got J Mations 101. What's going on? Everybody, again, yeah, it's an early morning stream. This was very last minute. Fun fact, I was actually planning to put all this together last night, got home from work, and fell right asleep as soon as I got home. So, oh well, things happen. It is what it is. Also, shout out to Skywalker Club, Bounty Brews, what's up? Greetings from the Las Vegas Valley. What's up, James Morrow? How we doing? All right, so... oh, look at this. Hey, guys. Shelf Life here. We got Jeffrey in here. Someone gifted me a membership last week. Woohoo! What's up? Hunter. Bly, go ahead, ban Hunter. Get him out of here. But, yeah, I was still in the middle of making the slideshow for my wish list. So I figured we'll just jump right into the thing here. Now, I did want to give a little update on a couple things here. So let me go over to the Blitz Transmissions Instagram. And we could check out just a little housekeeping thing, a little update here. Let's go to this post here. Wrong post. Because you know me, you know how I do here. So we got a little bit of an update for you guys. So if you want to check this out, Galactic Conquest. We may we may be moving on to the next phase of Galactic Conquest. So as you guys know, last weekend we ended the submission phase for Galactic Conquest. And then, of course, we went through counting all the votes. Shout out to the well over 100 people who submitted that My 25 for the first annual Galactic Conquest TVC fan poll. We are going to be very soon announcing when we will be moving on to the, bracket announcement and when you guys can vote. Originally, we were planning on doing a 32 member bracket, but looking at how peak the top 64 is, it's such a, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's such a good mix of eras. We've got like some really good original trilogy, prequel trilogy, Clone Wars, there's some expanded universe, some gaming figures, some even a couple sequel trilogy picks in there. I got to say, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So definitely keep a lookout, keep an eye out for the Galactic Conquest fan poll, which we will be moving on to the next phase of very soon, very shortly. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just get rid of that. And we're going to talk a little bit about something that I've been wanting to discuss here on the channel. I don't know if you guys can hear the sirens going by my house right now. There is an anniversary coming up, not in 2027. We're actually going to be looking a little further beyond 2027. We're going to be looking at 2028. Now, this one is very special to me, and I think all my cloners will be very excited about this anniversary in 2028. We actually, technically, we have 2 anniversaries coming up in 2028. So, in 2028, it marks the 20th anniversary of The Clone Wars, where Season 1 in the movie came out back in 2008. And then we are also celebrating the 25th anniversary of the 2003 Clone Wars micro series. So if you guys know me, you should know by now that I am a super fan of the Clone Wars era. I love the Dark Horse Clone Wars comics. I love the Clone Wars animated series from 2003. I love, of course, the Clone Wars movie and the Clone Wars show. That for me is my Star Wars. That's what I grew up with even more than anything else. So what I'm doing right now is we are kind of putting together a little slideshow for the Clone Wars wish list. I'm figuring, it's about a year and a half out, 2028, and there's still some time for Hasbro to do some planning on the latter half of the 2028 year for both Black Series and TVC. So I'm like, let's maybe put some bugs in some people's ears and kind of get the conversation going on what kinds of things I would like to see, and then maybe we can have a bit of a conversation about it in the chat for a wish list of the Clone Wars show and the Clone Wars micro series. And you would have seen maybe I teased some stuff on the thumbnail, some of the bigger stuff last year. Let's see. Hey, Flippin' Kicks. Welcome in, welcome in. Your recent pickups made me start collecting the Clone Wars figs. Hell yeah, brother. I still got some off to the side here. Got Commander Stone. These were all pickups from ICC Con. Denal. And, of course, the GOAT. Don't fire! General Worm Loathsome. 212th Hunter. 212th needs some wish list love. They might pop up here on this wish list. We'll see. But let me... I could go for Volvith Mon and Kukruk. I wish Hal Runner Base was in here, because those guys might actually end up on my my wish list here. So I had these organized, and they're no longer organized. So I'm trying to think of the best way for me to get these all in the slides here. So I definitely wanted to organize them in the way of what is the word I'm looking for here? I wanted to organize them in the way of holy cow. The English language apparently is very hard for me today. I was trying to organize them all in the way of like the 03 Clone Wars series and then the 2008 Clone Wars show. So Wolfpack Troopers, Night Rex. I will check out your latest custom once we're done with this stream here. Best line ever, animated Clone Wars figs. Hell yeah. Dirge updated, ARC Trooper, Ventress, all from 03. You know what? You guys in the chat, go ahead and sound off here. What's up, Scott? Welcome in. Yes, we don't need a P1 Bly. That's correct. Yeah. But how about you guys go ahead and sound off in the comments here, and we'll go ahead and start, kind of brainstorming the kinds of things that we would want for the wish list while I finish putting together the wish list here. So I don't know my computer is horrible. I don't know what's going on with my computer. I will say it doesn't help that my computer's, I think, been continuously on for several days now. Season 2 pre-Vizsla. Am I fluent in Huttese? No. No, not fluent in Huttese. I can speak Geonosian, though. Ooh, the RX-200 tank. Fan channel wave of '03 Clone Wars for Black Series would be awesome. Great time to announce Dirge. I agree. Sci-Fi Dude, welcome into the chat. Let me see, let me pull up an image here, and I can, we'll kind of use that as our jumping off point for our thing here. Hey, look at this. We got Raul in the chat, 199 super chat, currently at work, but I'll catch the replay. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining in. Hey, Death by Monkeys here. I just tuned in to some Geonosian. Back when I was in college, I used to play video games with a bunch of my high school friends, and we'd play all the time, and I would do that. I'd do my Geonosian voice. You know, the only person better than me, in my opinion, would be Johnny Mustache from the SWTVC channel. But here, I'm going to pull a slide up here, and then I'll share that as my screen. So we'll go here. There we go. How's that work for everybody? Is that showing? There we go. Ba-boom. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave this up here. We have a Clone Wars wish list. We got the Dr. Star Wars in here. Welcome in. Poggle Transmissions. Hell yeah. So again, guys, make sure to sound off in the chat with some of your wishes for 2028. So, like I said, I'm going to finish putting together my little slideshow here. And I think I could sit here all day and give hundreds and hundreds of wants from both the micro series and the main show. So you know what? I'm not even gonna do the slideshow. This is pointless. Where is Hauser? Hauser's from the Bad Batch. And I'm a Gundai, that would be a cool one. More Ahsoka love? There are definitely more looks for Ahsoka that we do not yet have in the Black Series or the Vintage Collection. Alpha, Phase 1 Rex, and Old Rex Evolution Pack. That could be cool, actually, because fun fact, again, if you didn't know, Captain Rex was originally named Alpha when they were putting together the Clone Wars movie. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to get this together. Just bear with me here, guys, while I finish. I decided to be a chud and not do what I was planning to do, which was make this slideshow because I got carried away. Oopsie. It happens. So I have a bunch. I tried to keep it pretty balanced as well between the '03 Clone Wars micro series and the '08 Clone Wars show, because I didn't want to be too heavy-handed with the Clone Wars show, because I know there's so much more you can do with the Clone Wars show, but at the same time, it's I didn't want to drown out '03 Clone Wars entirely. So let's see. Let's get some stuff out of the way here. Looking at '08 Clone Wars now. I'm trying to figure out how I want to kind of space out my my slides here. So let's see. We got, we'll just go in with some of these guys first. I think that'll work. How are we looking in chat here? Yeah, well, they were just gonna name him Alpha. That was the big thing, was they were gonna name him Alpha. They ended up deciding not to. And then we'll grab this slide. Yeah, this is my fault entirely for not being prepared like I should have been. But such is life, Came home from work, got super sleepy. Sometimes you can't help it, And we'll grab this. I should have. I'll know I did it right if I have 16 total slides. All right. 13. Oh, and now in true computer fashion, my computer is no longer working. Let's see. Fan channel 2008 Ponkrell, Commander Cody Phase 1 Umbaran in Zygerian armor. I need 2003 Clone Wars Cody, his first ever appearance, non-controversial tube top. Lucas changed it from Alpha, so all 3 characters to have an A in the first letter of their names. Correct. Jack 14, correct era, but not directly from the show. So I would say no. But a good choice nonetheless. Let's see, did I do that right? And then I feel like I'm missing one here. Of course I'm missing one. Oh, these guys. There we go. I'll move this slide up next to these. And then we'll grab another slide. Nope. This is what happens, guys, when you're not prepared. This is what happens. You get all flustered, and then things aren't ready to go like they're supposed to be. But let's get this. All right, I think the slideshow is ready now. So let's do view slideshow. Damn. Let's see. Can I present? Presenter view. There we go. Jeez Louise. All right, guys. Let's get in here. Let's get into this good old thing here. Let's remove that. Let's stop. Let's share the screen. All right. I appreciate you all bearing with me because this is going to be our wish list. I put together this slideshow that I didn't have ready in time. Join Tommy while he does homework. Get out of here. Somebody ban him. Somebody ban him. Get him out of here. I know it's the most loathed clone, but Phase 1 Fox. Hey, brother. Hashtag Commander Fox did nothing wrong. I'll say it proudly. I'll say it proudly. How about a Phase 1 212th just in general? How about no? Nobody likes the 212th. Tommy with some behind-the-scenes content? Yeah, okay, buddy. I made the slideshow. I just didn't have the slides in the order that I wanted. I want to see Captain Fordo, Hunt for Grievous, Captain Rex, Cold Assault Gear, V-Wing Pilot, Arc 170 Elite Squad. Yes to all of those. Those would be awesome. Someone say Volvith, Mon, and Kakruk? Yeah, dude. Okay, so let's hop right in. So this is a wish list for both the Vintage Collection and the Black Series. Now, there may be 1 or 2 in the mix here that may have already been made in one line or the other, but this is generally a wish list for both the Vintage Collection and the Black Series. So 2028, just to reiterate, is both the 20th anniversary of The Clone Wars that started in 2008 with the movie, and then Season 1, which came out shortly after in the same year. And then you have the 2003 Clone Wars Micro Series having its 25th anniversary in 2028 as well. I think that this is a huge opportunity for Hasbro to really reel in some new fans for the Vintage Collection and also really keep continuing to grow and build the hype for the Black Series. So this is going to be both Vintage Collection and Black Series. I'm going to talk a little bit about, what kinds of releases I would like to see, what I think would be the most plausible, and what I think would also just be the most fun. So some of these might be pipe dreams, but at the same time, I think that it's still fun to put everything out on the table and have a conversation about it. As I go through all of these different wish list items, which I think I'll post this whole slideshow on Instagram and stuff later, please share your input. If you don't like the idea, let's talk about it. If you feel like there are better ways to pitch this kind of an idea, let's talk about it. Because currently, Hasbro is probably getting ready about this time of year to start planning the latter half of 2028. That's how far ahead they usually are with at least planning and doing character selections and, preparing for the budget for that year. So, with that, let's jump beyond the 50th anniversary of Star Wars and let's have a conversation I haven't seen many people have yet when it comes to this line. Because again, the Clone Wars generation of Star Wars fans is like the prime generation to get the attention of with the collecting hobby, right? There's a lot of collectors that grew up with these shows that have, left the hobby, and there are releases that you could really bring people in and really generate some hype for this kind of stuff here. So, Sci-Fi Dude, question: would it be a good time to bring back Jedi Starfighters as a TVC Hasbro Pulse item? Yeah, that would be awesome. I would definitely pick those up, 100%. Quinlan, the Clone Wars TVC, Old Rex TVC, Black Series Kakruk, better have his hat, Phase 1 Rex TVC, Snow Gear Rex TVC, and Black Series. They said 18 months from drawing board to pegs. Correct. Drawing board to pegs. Yes. Azure Angel, that would be a really cool one too. And again, I'm already thinking, you guys are already bringing up stuff that I forgot about. So, we're gonna jump in. I did organize these from the '03 Clone Wars, and then it's gonna kind of bleed into the 2008 Clone Wars. Looking at my one other thing I want to bring up here, made to order Tiger Shark gunship and the whole Jedi team in the Gendy Clone Wars Grievous reveal. Yes, that would be, those may be appearing on the list. Last thing I want to do, I want to put this out there. These are, again, applying for both TVC and Black Series. So that's going to be kind of how this all plays out. So I just want to get him out of the way. I think he needs to get out of the way. Dirge. All right. We knew that Dirge was going to be one on this list. So I figured let's just start with him. I've beaten the dead horse with Dirge on Blitz transmissions. Let's just get him out of the way. Of course, ideally, I want him to come with as much as possible. If this means that Dirge would be a made-to-order release, then that is something that I think, I would rather it be made to order and come with more than be just like a standard fan channel release and come with less. So for me, looking at '03 Clone Wars, my ideal Dirge release for both TVC and Black Series, newly tooled figure, head to toe. I don't want to see some of this 2003 tooling that they used on the Separatist Forces Dirge back in the old days, used on this updated version. While that figure is good, it's not great, and I think that there's definitely room for improvement. So I would want Dirge, newly tooled figure, head to toe. I would want him to include his really badass swoop bike that he has on Munilinst. I want the lance as well, and I want his paint coloring to reflect the Clone Wars micro series more so than the Dark Horse comics. Now, if they go with the body proportions and the look of Dirge in the Dark Horse comics, yes, I'm cool with that. That works. But as far as this figure for, a Clone Wars release, I'd want more of this coloration with the more pale blues. Moving on to what else I would want. Obviously, I'd want him to include jetpack, maybe with blast effects. That would be amazing. I want his blaster pistols in the holsters. I want his gauntlet shields, his Morning Star, his whistling birds, his flamethrower with the flame effect. There is so much you can do with Dirge. Ideally, if we're going made to order, more than less. I want to also put out there, let's get some swappable arms that include like that bendy wire feature that Marvel Legends Gargantos had. I think that would be super, super cool. Yeah, it would be sick to do, like with when he gets his arm chopped off by Obi-Wan in their first battle, and then later on when he becomes more of that tentacle monster. I would love to have maybe arms and maybe legs that have those, tentacles with the bendy wire. I think that would just be a really unique feature there. Dirge build-up pack. That'd be sick. '03 Clone Wars, Ladder Series, Anakin and Obi-Wan, '03 Cody, Krell and Dirge, correct? Naked Dirge, I'm here for it. I'd get Dirge in both scales in a second. Heck yeah, man. But yeah, so that's kind of my thought process with Dirge. Again, you guys know, it beyond me just wanting the character, like he's my most wanted character for both Black Series and TVC. I think it just makes a lot of sense to get him out in 2028. It being the 25th anniversary of the '03 Clone Wars micro series, you have that added hype and relevancy to that very niche media, and it would give it the opportunity to be a very special release, and for them to go the extra mile with the tooling and make this more of a special, unique release for both TVC and Black Series. This is also one of those that I think they could just, hit the scale up or scale down button. I think he would perform really well in both lines. I think there's enough people that want this very unique looking Gendai bounty hunter in their collections. And I saw someone also mention, I think it was Scott, Dirge and Assassin Droid 2-pack would be great. Now that, I will say, I would want as a separate release. The Lancer droids with their swoop bikes, I would want them to be a separate release so that you could army build them if you wanted to, and you could buy multiples. I mean, you can see in this shot straight from the micro series here, he's being flanked by tons of these guys. So I would definitely want, more than one here. Be some. What up, be some? If you can't get some, you better be some. He says, do you want it to look like the animation version or realistic in Black Series? For both TVC and Black Series, I would, my ideal look for him would be his realistic look from the Dark Horse comics with the colors used in the '03 Clone Wars series. I think that would be a perfect blend of the two designs, the proportions and the look of the more realistic Dark Horse comics look with the colors of the armor and everything from the '03 Clone Wars series. I think that is the perfect blend that would match the realistic aesthetic of both the Vintage Collection and the Black Series, while also keeping true to and keeping faithful to the media that it's from. So if everybody's ready, we'll skip past him, because I know, again, Dirge is the biggest beating of a dead horse ever for the Blitz Transmissions channel. So that's, again, why I put him up front, because I just wanted to get him out of the way. We got B-Sum, agreed. I see you guys are talking. Arc Trooper 2-pack for Black Series, Fordo, and a blue. I want a red one. I want a blue one. But, yeah, so we got that. And then let's move right along to our next one here. We have the Munilus 10 Arc Trooper group. I saw you guys were already talking about him, so I put him in here earlier in the slideshow. So the Munilus 10 Arc Troopers, I feel like would be it's a very obvious one. The closest we ever got to these guys in Black Series and TVC, I feel like they could all use an update. If they do these guys again in Black Series, I want these guys to be done up in a more true to the media look. I think because we have the new Phase 1 Captain Rex in Black Series, we have most of the tooling for these guys already. The helmet with the rangefinder, we have a comma, you just do that with soft goods. You would need new holsters for Fordo specifically, and a new pauldron piece. But for the most part, we have a lot of the tooling needed for these guys, and in TVC as well. I mean, we have our current Clone Trooper sculpt is a huge upgrade over the recently, I think it was for the Lucasfilm 50th, they did the red Arc Trooper. They call him Arc Trooper Captain. He's Captain Fordo. But this Clone Trooper sculpt right here, this is the Phase 2 clone from the 4-pack Army Builder set. I think that is a worthy upgrade with some new additional parts, just to get, of course, Fordo out, but also getting the Arc Troopers out as well. So obviously, I think that it would be cooler to do the Arc Troopers, maybe include the Z6 rotary cannon. You can see in the top left, I have the two unique Munilus 10 troopers, and you can also see that with those unique looks, we also have a unique armor set for the one with the quad cannon. So I think that would be a really cool, maybe, I guess, bonus figure to include. Or we could do a single-packed Fordo, a single-packed regular Arc Trooper, the blue ones, so they have their carbines and, the different rifles and stuff. And then you could do a 2-pack with the one with the Z6 and the one with the quad cannon. Or even better, we could do a 3-figure special action figure set that includes Fordo, the one with the Z6, and the one with the quad cannon. Just make it its own special pack, since those are the only 3 that have a unique look, and the rest of the Munilus 10 have very similar looks to one another. So, need the rocket launcher for the Munilus troopers. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, Munilus 10 troop is great. Absolutely. Now, these guys suck? You suck. Someone ban him. Here we go. You guys are getting pretty hyped about this one. Yeah, I think that doing these guys in a couple separate releases is the way to go with this. And, building out that team. And they could do this throughout the year of 2028, getting some of these troopers out. Maybe one fan channel wave, they release just Fordo, and then they also release the regular blue Munilus 10 Trooper, and then maybe they do a special 2-pack or something that's exclusive to Hasbro Pulse throughout the year, where we include the one with the Z6 and we include the one with the quad cannon as well. Made to order LAAT too. We need 0. Mama! Shout out all the channel members. Sound off with the 0 emojis in the chat there. We do have for the channel members, you have a custom 0 the Hutt emoji, courtesy of Great White North Empire. But yeah, I feel like we have a lot of the tooling already for these guys. And there we go, Hunter sounding off in the chat already. I feel like we have a lot of the tooling for these guys already. I feel like we could very easily get these guys with minimal new tooling, you know what I mean? And speaking of these guys, I believe if I pan this out right. Oh, here we go. some of our heroes as well in the show here. So some really unique looks that I really like, and I think could look great for TVC and Black Series, would be Anakin and Obi-Wan as they first appear in Volume 2 of the Clone Wars micro series. I see Hunter, you had mentioned it in the chat earlier. These guys are already on the list. Anakin and Obi-Wan in these looks, I actually have my Hot Toys of these guys, and it's not true to the looks, but my Hot Toys Clone Wars Anakin and Obi-Wan are posed in these two poses right here. This is such a great look. I like the capes, I like the mix of the clone armor. Hunter says they're peak, absolutely. I like what they did with these. You know what I mean? I think that these designs are very cool. I think the colors pop. And I think that, again, we have a lot of the existing tooling for both of these characters. We have a new portrait for Revenge of the Sith Anakin. We have a new portrait for Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan. We have all the clone trooper parts have their tooling. Anakin's design is pretty close to what we see in Revenge of the Sith. So I think that, give him the clone trooper belts, you give him the gauntlets. Anakin, you could just give him his Revenge of the Sith look. And these would be great partial retools for both Black Series and TVC to get both of these characters out. And they're the main characters. I mean, in my opinion, these are even cooler designs than what we saw in the 2008 Clone Wars for both of these characters, right? Even Riley Bob. What's up, dude? Welcome in. And he's also a channel member if you see the little badge next to his name. Hey, yo, just showed up and thoroughly agree. TVC needs more Jedi and Clone Wars armor. Is that what we're talking? Yes, it is. Specifically, we're talking Anakin and Obi-Wan. We got Chet Maddox in the chat. What up, Chet? How we doing? A full-scale Venator? Yeah, I would need to rent 3 city blocks for that if I wanted that. We have part of that Anakin in the SDCC TVC TV pack. That is Padawan Anakin. I don't know. Maybe we could get some tooling, but I think you would get a lot more from the recently revealed on SWTVC. Shout out to those guys. The Anakin and Commander Cody 2-pack that's coming to Walmart later this year. I think that is where you could actually get a lot of the tooling there. I don't know. That's YouTube. I love YouTube, man. Gunji. I can't believe I had to. Gunji's not on my list, but I want him because obviously I want everything. Obi-Wan and Anakin rocked Jedi fashion back on its heels in the Clone Wars. Yeah, man. I want Anakin and Obi-Wan in 2D Clone Wars. Absolutely. Day one purchase. Yeah, even though it's 2/12 slop, I need Gendy Cody. But yeah, so this is you could put these guys out as a 2-pack even. I think this would also do well as some sort of a retailer exclusive. Stop blocking me, dude. I agree. Gunji would be awesome. But yeah, these guys could be put out as a 2-pack, and once again, partial retools. We would need very minimal real parts here. Hey, over 30 people watching and only 9 likes. What's going on, guys? Hondo and his pirates, those may show up. But yeah, these guys I think would just be a really smart idea. I really think that these guys would be really smart for both TVC and Black Series for 2028. Moving right along. Speaking of Jedi, I decided to, kind of lump in a bunch of Jedi that have unique designs and really cool looks from the 03 Clone Wars micro series. So these, again, I think would all work really well for Black Series and TVC. Of course, in the top middle, you've got all the Jedi that encounter General Grievous when we first see his debut. So up front we have Ki-Adi-Mundi in his battle-damaged look. He's got that really cool chest armor going on. We've got his Padawan Tar Sayre off to the left there. We have Kakruk in the back left there. We've got you could put Shaak Ti back out in some sort of multi-pack, and then Aayla Secura over there on the right. And then of course not in this shot is Shayagi, who gets crushed by General Grievous when we see him first. I did want to point out, too, with these guys, I think they would do really well as a multi-pack. I think especially if you look at some characters, which would be partial retools, like Ki-Adi-Mundi, there's a different version of Aayla in the show where she actually has clone armor on her left arm, the shoulder armor and the gauntlet. I think that would be a super cool figure to pack in, even though that specific look isn't in this specific scene. I think it's still a a look from '03 Clone Wars that would work really well. Shock T, I feel like it, if they wanted to repack her, they would repack her. I feel like not too many people would get upset. And of course, the big new tool here would be Kakruk. You'd have some new stuff on Tarsair, maybe some new for Shayagi, but of course, Kakruk being the big one here. Of course, I had to include my goats, Roron Karab, who you see on the left, and Foul Modama, who you see on the right. I feel like these guys would be great to serve a dual purpose for TVC and Black Series. We do have Roron Moman Nadon in Black Series and TVC, and then we've been waiting a long time for a new Muftak for TVC and Black Series. And because Roron and Foul are just essentially Momanedon and Muftak with Jedi robes on, they'd be super easy to do. You could get a lot of reuse out of the new tooling necessary to create both of those characters, whether it's just the overlays for the Jedi robes or things like that. I feel like it would be a really great way to get both of those very unique alien species out into the line. Now, moving on down in the middle here, this is another beating a dead horse on the Blitz Transmissions channel. It's going to be Sacy Tin in his clone armor for the Battle Above Coruscant from Volume 2. That one is a no-brainer. Hot Toys just put him out, so it gives me some hope that maybe sooner than later he'll show up in both TVC and Black Series. Bottom left, we have one. His name is Volvith Mon. Volvith Mon is a werewolf Jedi. He looks so badass. A lot of his armor design is very similar to, and his tunics as well, very similar to the Volume 2 look for Anakin. So I feel like you could get a lot of reuse out of that for overlays and such. Obviously, his base body, you would have to sculpt a lot of new, but that could still be a character that I think a lot of people would want to get their hands on. And then bottom right, of course, we have the GOAT, Shirtless Kit Fisto. They modeled my physique off of Shirtless Kit Fisto, by the way. But I feel like that's just another really cool one. And it would open the door again to getting a prequel trilogy Kit Fisto. So again, a lot of this stuff that I was coming up with, I'm thinking, forward thinking with it, future focused with it, thinking, okay, well, if they take the time to tool new parts, there's already this, and this that they could use and, reuse that same new tooling on other figure releases. Black Series desperately needs an updated Kit Fisto. TVC needs a Kit Fisto altogether. And I feel like, both lines, there's a lot of older fans that want a Muftak. Volvith Mon, technically, I wouldn't be upset if they gave him Arleal Shus's head. It's close enough. Give me a little closer to him. But yeah, do I have a Muftak impression? No, but I have a Foul Modama. No, I don't think I could do it. Yeah, the tallest species. You guys are on it. Let's see here. You guys are going nuts here. Yes to all, especially Kid Fisto. So much better in Clone Wars than Attack of the Clones. I agree. Let's see. You guys are all calling out for Peak. Yeah, dude. Need a troop builder pack of Felucian farmers. Get out of here, dude. Yes. There may be a Black Series 2-pack coming sooner than later. Yeah, Volvith Mon is the Jedi there. And let's see. Yeah, Shayagi. We'll get Shayagi in here as well. Shakti Ayla would be cool in the 2D animation style. I agree. What's up, Chaotic? Welcome in. But yeah, I feel like this would be just a really cool set of Jedi to do, with lots of, unique opportunities for, reused tooling down the road for some original trilogy era characters. Arleal is not the same species. Lax Sivrak. Yes, Lax Sivrak. Everybody's favorite. Almost as popular and iconic as Boshek. Or Debnali. Where's my Prince Debnali? But so here's some Jedi that I think there are so many cool Jedi designs from 03 Clone Wars. I think that this would just be a great lineup of them, just to give some examples. Oh, okay. Apparently I put the same slide in twice here, which makes sense. I thought I was forgetting one. Well, if we're talking about Munilus 10, let's talk about the Munilus 10 LAAT. So this is like my big one for the 03 Clone Wars micro series. This one I feel like is obvious because it features a design that has recently been tooled in the TVC line, that being the HasLab Republic gunship. If you watch this channel, I'm sure you may have heard once or twice about the HasLab Republic gunship. And this would be a great way, like, down the road, like, you know, several years from now, because for some reason Hasbro has this very, in my opinion, very dumb arbitrary rule that once they make tooling for a HasLab, that tooling is not allowed to be reused for a minimum of 3 years. Really dumb. So therefore, I feel like this should be, I see Movie Toy Tuber brings it up, made to order or HasLab again. Yeah, dude, there was a HasLab gunship. Yeah, something like that. Hashtag we landed the lat. Hashtag the lat has landed. Hashtag back to the lat. Man, I love that campaign. That was so fun. What's up, Shock? How we doing? They already made this. Get out of here, dude. You're banned. But I feel like this would be a great made to order. I feel like if they were going for something big for the 20th anniversary, this obviously would be more geared toward TVC. Although I will say, if they did a Black Series Republic gunship, I would buy it. But it's impractical. It'd be too big. I don't care, bro. This is like, I love to just brainstorm and just have like these speculative brainstorming conversations. A Black Series lat would be massive. It would probably be impractical, but guess what? It'd be cool. You know, bottom line, it would be cool. Oh, wow, that's too big. It's too... Dude, but we can still talk about it, have a good conversation about it, right? But maybe ATTE? Maybe we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about... Would I buy 6 of them? I'd buy 60 of them. I'd buy another house and fill my entire house with them. Yeah. I'd like an LAAT in any color scheme, TVC or Black Series. Yeah, so I did also want to mention, like, when it comes to the lat, this is one of those that I've had this for 20 years. I need a big brown box. Hashtag Sandcrawler. Sorry, if you want the Sandcrawler, I'm not dogging on you. I just can't in a million years think that the Sandcrawler is cooler than the Republic gunship. You know what I mean? Yeah, since when does practical matter to us? Black Series Venator, brother. Yeah, I'd buy one. Like I said, I'd just buy 12 city blocks and go get one. But yeah, so there are so many different, you know, unique Republic gunship designs between the 2008 Clone Wars and the 2003, but I felt like this one would be the coolest. And this is the one that if they did a limited made to order, that a lot of people would buy. Now, I don't know how the price would be on it, though. I don't know if made to order would make it more expensive because, you know, I know with the HasLabs, part of it is like, yeah, they're taking the money to like make the thing, like tool it and put it all together. Maybe because we already have the tooling, this one would be a little cheaper. But then again, I feel like people would freak out if they found out that the made-to-order one that came out years after was cheaper. Bottom line is, I know that I would want a Munilus 10 LAAT. I feel like this would be such a slam dunk, especially if they do the Munilus 10 Clone Troopers, like I was suggesting earlier in the stream. This would be a great companion piece for those, and of course you could include the specific pilots that fly this Republic gunship as well, where they have the cool little blue markings with the little black symbol on the front of the helmet there. I feel like that would just be really neat. No ball turrets. That also would affect the price, but I feel like if they're reusing the HasLab tooling, though, that they'll probably just include ball turrets anyway. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to that myself, even though I wouldn't display mine with the ball turrets on it. I feel like that still, you know, could work. But anyway, so that's like my big one for this here. Yeah, they just did that with the Arctic Hiss, just included less features and accessories. I don't know how well that's sold, though. Does anyone know how well? I'm not a G.I. Joe guy by any stretch of the imagination. So, like, does anyone know if the Arctic Hiss did well? I assume it did. If the Snowcat funded, and then it, you know, funded all the tiers on, like, the last day, and then, you know, after that, they showed off the Arctic Hiss. I feel like a lot of people that backed the Snowcat would have been interested in an Arctic Hiss. So, I don't know. But this is one that, again, I'm obviously big Republic gunship guy. That's like a big identity point of the channel now. So I thought it would just be a good one to throw on the list. Obviously, again, more geared toward TVC. But I obviously would technically still buy a Black Series. Let's talk Clone Wars. So moving away from the '03 Clone Wars, let's talk 2008 Clone Wars. So I thought it would be cool to not go with the obvious. I know you guys were probably going, oh, Clone Trooper. And while I do want literally every single Clone Trooper that's ever been, created in the Star Wars universe in action figure form, there are a lot of separatists that definitely deserve action figures too. Some of them have never had action figures ever, and I think that they would make really cool debuts for the 20th anniversary of the 2008 Clone Wars, which again premiered in 20 years ago in 2008. So we have some from all the way from the Clone Wars movie to now. I've got one army builder here with several other separatist leaders. I kind of wanted to focus more on separatist leaders. So up in the top middle, this one's obviously just for TVC, that being the Commando droid. I would also love it if Black Series actually took the time to retool the legs of the Commando droid. Give it a little bit more there. $199 from Bly. Serapis! We might be talking about Serapis in a future slide here. But yeah, so I did just want to put the Commando droids in there just because I want to keep, banging the drum for them. But for the rest of these, I chose some separatist leaders, maybe some new alien species, things like that. So I did include Admiral Trench. Obviously, my preferred look for him is his Clone Wars Season 6 look that it transfers over to Season 7, the Season 6-7 look, with the droid arms and the half, mechanical face and all that. But obviously, I wouldn't be disappointed if they did his Season 2 version as well. He's such a unique species in the Star Wars universe. I think he'd look cool. General Worm Loathsome on the right here from the Clone Wars movie. If you pay attention to what he is riding in, then maybe you'll get a hint as to something that's coming later on the list. And then, of course, down in the bottom left, we have the tactical droid. And then on the bottom right, that specific one is General Kalani, but that is the super tactical droid from the latter seasons of the Clone Wars. And then in the bottom middle here, we have Osi Sobek. Osi Sobek is the kind of general in charge of the Citadel, which I think was that had to have been Season 3 of the Clone Wars, because Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka have their updated looks for the latter seasons of the show. 6-7 mentioned. Wat Tambor, that was the other thing. I tried to stick to designs that are specifically from the shows, as opposed to designs that, he was in the movie and then he's also in the animation. I felt like I really wanted to just focus on stuff that is original to the animation. So yeah, we got guys talking about Admiral Trench, the tactical droids. Yeah, dude. And with the tactical droids too, there are several different tactical droids throughout the Clone Wars that have different paint designs, and technically it's a different character. So again, that's reuse of that tooling that you used for this character. And I just think that we need some more commanding forces for our separatists. We've got some great clone troopers, clone commanders. We've got some Jedi generals in Black Series and TVC. I feel like the separatist faction is a bit underserved. So that is one that I really wanted to point out there. So moving right along from our separatists here, I kind of wanted to keep with something, separatist adjacent. So what I'm going with here is the Umbarans. These guys were I put on my 25 for TVC Galactic Conquest, the newest fan poll going on. And I thought that these guys would be a great addition to both the Black Series and TVC. We have in Black Series been kind of building up to this a little bit. So if you look at the recently revealed AT-RT with 501st ARF Trooper and the yet to be officially revealed Clone Trooper Dogma and Hardcase 2-pack coming for Black Series, I feel like we're kind of building up to a theme for Umbara that could continue into the next couple years. And I think that, maybe something a little bit more niche like the Umbaran soldiers, which would be a great troop builder, would do really well for both TVC and for Black Series. So I thought that this would be one that I wanted to just throw in there, kind of make sure that it got its little spotlight here, a specific spotlight, because these guys are technically aligned with the separatists, but this is more of the local Umbaran militia as opposed to actual separatist droid army characters. So I wanted to just make sure I gave them a spotlight. So moving on to some other characters, because I when I'm thinking Clone Wars, you tend to get caught up in just the actual big conflict between the Republic and the Separatists. Okay, brother. Sick of asking for Pong Krell. Hashtag cancel Krell. Can we give 4 thumbs down instead of 4 strong emojis for that? For the 4 arms? But yeah, we had all you guys talking about the Umbarans in there. But yeah, let's talk about some scum and villainy now. So there's a lot of other unique characters and designs that come from the '08 Clone Wars show, and I really wanted to highlight some of them that I think that are great examples of ones that could perform really well. You have some, geez, you have some that would be largely retooled, or largely reuse, I should say, with ones like Cad Bane on the lower right there. You've got Embo, of course. You could use a lot of his tooling from the Mando and Grogu movie. Of course, include Marok, Embo's dog there. But there's a lot of other cool bounty hunter groups and, factions within the Clone Wars era and that appear in the Clone Wars show. Lots of original characters that I think could also do really well. So looking like Serapis down in the middle here, he shows up on screen with Embo. They work together as a team in one of the episodes. We have, of course, that on the top left is Boba Fett as part of the Krait's Claw crew, and part of that crew also, you can see on the top right, is C-21 Highsinger, who would be a really cool assassin droid to maybe pair in like a 2-pack with Boba. I think those guys would look great together. Also would be a great opportunity to redo Bosk, because Bosk is pretty dated to today's Black Series standards. Of course, down at the bottom right, Hondo Ohnaka. He shows up all the time in the Clone Wars, and I think he's a big missing hole in the Black Series line as well as TVC. He shows up so many different times. And then, of course, bottom right, I would love to get Reiko Hardeen. I would love to get, is it Bola Raval? Is that his name? I think his name is Bola Raval. The guy down here in the middle. He runs the box. And I think these guys would look awesome. The Piranha Bounty Hunter with the eye patch. Piranha with the eye patch. Oh, yes, that little guy from the Old Republic. Yes. Yeah, Moralo Eval. Okay, I was close. Thank you, Kurt. Thanks for jumping in there. Highsinger in Breaking Bad. I think you're thinking of the wrong thing, buddy. Who's the big dumb one in the center? That's you, bro. That's you in the center there, the big dumb one. But yeah, I thought that this would be a cool layout, just of some good examples of some scum and villainy that appear in the Clone Wars that would, I think, do really well in both TVC and Black Series. So moving right along here. Oh, here we go. We had an Embo figure from Star Wars Mandalorian and Grogu. We need Bosk. Yes, Embo's coloration and costume are slightly different in the Clone Wars. I would actually buy both, personally. Moving right along, of course, you knew Cloner. Everybody drop your Cloner emojis in the chat. Drop your Cloner emojis, all the channel members. Oh, I want an orange one and a red one and a yellow one and a blue one. So technically, I could have included, I think it goes without saying, I want Hasbro to make every single clone trooper from the Clone Wars. Boom. Every unique design, every unique character. And then I was like, okay, I would literally sit here forever trying to cram clone troopers on a slide. So I boiled it, pun intended, to some of the ones that I think are some of the biggest holes in the show. Shout out to 12th Hunter. $50 super chat. Thanks, man. Peak. Thanks. I really appreciate it, dude. Yeah, everybody, all the channel members, keep dropping it in there. Cloner. I see him in there. 99. Everybody dropping the emojis. Drop the emojis. But yeah, shout out to 12th Hunter. You're absolutely awesome, dude, for the $50 super chat there. Really appreciate it. Everybody's Bly's going nuts with the emojis. If you're a channel member, you do have access to those, so make sure to toss them in the chat there. But Bola Ropal, the Jedi Cad Bane kills with the holocron. Okay. Thank you for that. Close enough. But yeah, so I wanted to give some of my biggest missing ones in the TVC and in Black Series. And these ones are obviously the biggest, I think the easiest ones for Hasbro to do for both lines. We have so much tooling already made for all these characters. Death by Monkeys in here. Clone. 4 out of 6, 212. We're making pretty good batting scores here, man. But yeah, so top middle, I've got Waxer and Boyle from Season 1 of the Clone Wars. On the top left, I have the Clone Wars Phase 2 version of the Clone Pilot, which I think would be a great one to include, and there are some repaints they could do as well, just from, tooling that helmet in TVC. Of course, that design does already exist in the Black Series for that helmet, so I think for both lines, especially with the Republic gunship, it would go well. Top right, we have an example of a great troop builder, the 212th ARF Trooper, aka the 212th Recon Division. If you're a Battlefront 2 fan, great figure there, and tooling an ARF Trooper helmet would go a long way to give you lots of different clone trooper designs throughout the Clone Wars there. Bottom middle, I wanted to include some of my favorites, totally not influenced by this 2-pack I got at ICC-Con here. You can see Jack, Reese, and Thyre there. Those guys are from the premiere episode of the Clone Wars, which I think that specifically would be a great multi-pack to do for Black Series and TVC for 2028. That being the premiere episode on TV. Those are the 3 main clones that we see. Bottom left, I've got some more like Fives and Echo from the Defense of Camino episode. And in the background there, you can also see Phase 1 Cody and Phase 1 Rex. Of course, we do have a Phase 1 Rex in Black Series, but I kind of want to beat the drum, kind of throw him in there for TVC. Definitely need him in there. And then on the bottom right, we have Clone Commando Gregor. He is a huge missing clone, probably one of the most desired clones in both TVC and Black Series, and I think that Gregor would obviously be a really good one to include. Clone Commando Gregor would be a fine addition to the collection. Yeah, Robo Nino, thank you, the little piranha guy. But yeah, Republic Clone Commanders should be in, absolutely. Absolutely. Gregor's gotta be coming on the new Commando body. They did talk about him. My goat Denal, that's another one here. But yeah, I could say every clone trooper ever, which I am, Number 1 TVC clone need is the Republic Commando. It's a super sculpt army builder. Gets us so many options for variants. What's up, Baymax? Thanks for jumping in the stream here. But yeah, so this is one that I just kind of wanted to boil it down to some of the ones that I think would be the easiest and some of the biggest examples of clones that we need in Black Series and TVC, of course. And again, we have lots of tooling. The current sculpts for the Clone Troopers, my favorite of the two is the TVC, but I do also love the new Black Series Clone Trooper sculpt, are both so easy to just repaint now. We've got, and you're creating new characters with each one. It's not just, this is a new troop builder, It's a new character. It's a new person made in TVC or Black Series. So that's kind of what I've got for clones here. Now, I got another one here. This one might, be a little different. It's not clone troopers, but if I wanted to include one faction, he called it Mother Talzin here. I wanted to talk about collect Hot Toys Gregors like you collect gunships. Thanks, Bolts. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Night Sisters. Now, in my opinion, Mother Talzin is the biggest missing character in both Black Series and TVC from the Clone Wars show. Hey, Cassidy, by the way, congratulations on hitting your 1,500 backer goal on Kickstarter for Cube Squadron. If you're a Micro Galaxy Squadron fan and you're looking for a way to seriously level up your display, make sure to check out Cube Squadron. I believe I do have them linked in the description below as well on this particular stream. So make sure to check them out. They're moving into the production phase. So I'm very, very excited to get my hands on some Cube Squadron. Thank you, Cassidy, again. I appreciate you guys helping us keep the momentum. I was doing my best, man. I was plugging it every possible way that I could. So shout out to him there. Max Rebo. No. Max Reno. No. We don't want him. This is a Clone Wars one, bro. I'd say Palpatine is the biggest and Yoda. Yeah, but with Mother Talzin, she's never had a realistic action figure ever. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, is she's only had an animated figure, and she was technically called the Night Sisters. She wasn't even called Mother Talzin. So with this faction, there's, Talia, who you could see off to the right of Mother Talzin. You have the Archers. You have the Zombie Night Sisters. You have, of course, Mother Talzin. You have Old Daka, who is the kind of zombie necromancer of the faction. Mother Talzin is so important to the story of the latter seasons of the Clone Wars. She creates Savage Opress as a double agent. She resurrects Darth Maul. She brings Asajj Ventress back onto her feet after she's almost killed by Count Dooku. She duels Mace Windu. She has so many important moments that send so much into motion in the latter seasons of the Clone Wars. I think she is seriously one of the biggest gaps in the Clone Wars show for, again, both Black Series and TVC. That's, for me, it's a very important one to get. We got Farrell. What's up? How we doing? But yeah, seriously, I think that this is one. Bring on a 4-pack of Night Sisters and a carded Mother Talzin in TVC. That would be cool too. I'd be down for that. But I feel like this is, again, a big one that both lines need to hit. I think that 2028 is the perfect kind of year, it being a big anniversary year for the Clone Wars. I think that that's a perfect opportunity to put out this kind of figure. I also feel like, even though she'd be newly tooled head to toe, I feel like they could do her as a regular release. I would buy her as a deluxe, but I don't feel like she needs to be a deluxe. I feel like they could do her as a regular figure. So, moving on. Obviously, you should have known. Did you really think we were going to go this entire stream without getting Mama! Zero the Hutt needs made in Black Series and TVC, Mama! Did you really think we were going to go this whole stream and I wasn't going to bring up the GOAT? The peak male physique? Did you really think the absolute idol of Star Wars fashion? The best tattoos in all of Star Wars? Brother, did you really think I wasn't going to include Zero the Hutt? Did you really think it? When monarchs fly out of my flea hole. Mama, I wanna be made as an action figure. Give me in 2028. Mama. He needs to come out, man. I feel like, again, he's like the underlying villain of the Clone Wars movie. He shows up time and time again in the earlier seasons of the Clone Wars. You know what? Use this as an opportunity to give us Sy Snootles, the woman, the love of his life, who kills him in cold blood. I think that this is the perfect opportunity. Get us Zero, and that will get me to buy Sy Snootles. Make Sy Snootles, make Zero. I mean, we already technically have a lot of the tooling because he has the same body shape as Jabba, so I really wouldn't be upset if they did Zero with just like his entire body is just Jabba's tooling, and they add the different paint applications and the little attachment to his head with the feathers. I feel like I'd be cool with that. Would you guys be cool with that? But yeah, I had to give a specific character spotlight to the GOAT. You guys should have known this was happening. Should Hasbro create what's going on, Leonardo, by the way? Should Hasbro create special edition animated styled Clone Wars figures 1-to-1 to the animated appearance? Dude, I would buy that. I'm not going to lie. This is my pipe dream. 2028 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 4-pack. You get Clone Wars Anakin, Obi-Wan, Rex, and Cody. Boom. Done. In the animated style. Technically then, you would have, if it does well, if it performs well, because that's the other thing, is for some reason, there are a lot of collectors who are like very against the idea of animated figures. But I think if they did it as some sort of subline that had its own like separate identity, I feel like it'd be fun, even if it was just for this anniversary year. I feel like it'd be fun, and especially if they make the Clone Trooper tooling. Do you realize how many opportunities for reuse there are for that? Like, so many, especially in that animated style. I personally would buy every single one. But yeah, we got some people echoing that in chat there. Just give us a Clone Wars Jabba's Palace. Brother, if you give me a Sandcrawler and you call it a Clone Wars Sandcrawler, then I'm in. But give me a brown box and you put a Clone Wars logo on it, all right, then you got me. But yeah, I would buy the whole Hutt Council too. I buy everything Clone Wars, man. I get everything Clone Wars. Animated style with 5 POA, you're banned. All right, get him out of here. But of course, I'll glaze past this guy now because I'm done glazing him. It is, of course, Zero the Hutt. You should have known. Still waiting for the animated SHF figs. Give me carded Django. That would be cool too. But yeah, Zero the Hutt. Mama, make me an action figure. All right, let's move on to the next slide here. Now, the next couple here are going to be some biggins, okay? And actually, let me pull up another one here. Just so I'm gonna have to switch tabs here. That's my only thing. This next one I wanted to bring up. This guy showed up on my Galactic Conquest My 25 this year. This is the Dwarf Spider Droid. Now, the Dwarf Spider Droid did first show up in Attack of the Clones, and I know I said, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. I tried to include stuff that's only from the animation, but sometimes with the bigger stuff, like, you can't do that. Now, I see Movie Toy Tuber says made to order. Hear me out. I agree. Do Django in a build-up pack with the poncho and the headgear and everything, and also include young Boba. I would buy that. Now, here's my thing. Pong, Trench, Satine, Rook, and Zero. Top 5 Clone Wars wants. Good ideas. My thing is this. When I was looking at the size of the Dwarf Spider Droid, if you look at it, all things considered, the Dwarf Spider Droid is not much bigger than the Droideka. Droideka was a deluxe release for Black Series. Other than the spindly legs, which are, again, very thin, easily articulated, maybe they don't even have to articulate them at all, the legs are what make it look a lot bigger than it is. The actual body of the Dwarf Spider Droid, and you can see up in the top left, I also have a shot of the Dwarf Spider Droid from the 03 Clone Wars as well. MGS has it listed as a vehicle. It is listed as a Scout class vehicle, one of the blind boxes, but a character doesn't ride it or operate inside it. They just included it. They made it to make it. You know what I mean? This character is one that I think is actually a lot more doable as a deluxe release. And I think that by keeping the price point lower that way, I think you would entice a lot more collectors to buy multiples of these. I personally would definitely buy multiples of this guy. I think this is a super cool design. I think that getting it out as part of the Clone Wars 20th or Clone Wars 25th would be a smart choice. And you could literally just, when you pack them in the box, just pop all the legs out with pegs, and put them in, pack them in all separated like that. And I think that you could get away with doing him as just a deluxe figure release, because other than that, you have what? The only tooling here is the main body, and then the 4 legs are all identical. So you only have to tool the leg, because then you can just copy and paste that leg 4 times for the figure. So I'm going to be real. I feel like it's very doable as a deluxe figure as opposed to like a big made to order release. They aren't all that big. They're large, but they're not all that big. They're actually similar in size to like Spybot from Maul Shadowlord as far as like their width on a shelf would go. So kind of wanted to, there we go. We got Chaotic Clouds echoing in here. I got 2 Dwarf Spider Droids. Boom. Easy as that. But yeah, I did also want to show, if they showed up in both shows, so you'll see that on the next couple slides, I did kind of want to show that. Now, before, because I realized that I doubled up on a slide here, so let me make sure that I give this guy some attention here. Let me stop sharing my screen for just a moment. And I knew that I screwed something up. I was like, I'm missing somebody. Guys, how could I have forgotten about the GOAT? Again, beating a dead horse. Papa Pong. You should have known he was going to be on the list. You should have known. He's my second most wanted in Black Series and TVC and Hot Toys, right underneath Dirge. But probably like 1A, 1B, all things considered. This guy is one, obviously, that I would love. Now, this guy, I think, would be more than deluxe price or made to order because of his size, but also because of the things that I would want included. Like, if I wanted a definitive Pong Krell, I want a Pongers. Papa Pong, Ping Pong Krell. You should have known I was going to add him. Hashtag, there he is, Ping Pong Krell. Hashtag cancel Krell. You should have known he was going to be on the list. You really thought I was going to go through this whole list and not include the GOAT? Calling for Pong Krell is actually beating a dead clone. Get out of here, dude. I hope he gets revealed at SDCC. I feel like they're building up to it between the ATRT and then the Clone 2 pack. I feel like they're building up to it. However, I gotta say, that's absolutely crazy. I gotta say, if they reveal Krell for Black Series before TVC, I'm going to be offended as a TVC collector, Because yes, Black Series fans have been banging the drum for Ponkrell, but TVC fans literally have like actionable data. Now we have Ponkrell won SWTVC's March Madness a couple years ago, and he got second place this year in 2026. I feel like they have to do what they did with Embo. Reveal him for both lines at the same time. Could Pong and Dexter Jetster have the same tooling? I'm going to say no. And the reason I'm going to say no is because their body types and their height and everything about them are completely different. I think maybe the only things that you could get reuse out of would be like the hands or the feet, maybe the lower legs, maybe. But as far as like the rest of the figures, they are very different in looks and proportions. So Ponkrell and Savaggio Press and TVC needs to happen. What's up, Joel? Welcome in. Yes, indeed. They've been requested for a while. Yes, I think they have to be both on the same fan stream, and that would send people crazy if it's SDCC and they reveal Ponkrell for TVC, and then right after that they reveal him for Black Series. Now, as far as how I would want the reveal to go, I think that I would want this, again, just like Burge, to be as definitive as possible. If you're going to go the made-to-order route, if you're going to go something more than deluxe pricing, I want this to include as much as possible. I want him to include separate sculpts, because if you notice, his lightsaber hilts, they fold in half. I want the lightsaber hilts folded in half as a separate sculpt from the ones that are extended. I want swooshing blades for all 4 lightsaber blades. I would like one swappable head. I want one with more of a blank or a smirking expression, and I want one where he's like snarling and showing his teeth. That to me is so Ponkrell. And then I also want some extra hands. I don't need like 4 extra hands, like a complete set, but I want a couple that are force push hands, and I'd want a couple that are maybe closed fists as well, because he does a lot of punching and grabbing and, force pushing. He uses the force very aggressively, and I would like for that to reflect in the action figure. I agree. All reasonable requests. Chicken leg Darth Maul. Yes, I would love that one. Absolutely. Balance the scales. Balance the scales. Without proportional representation. No. Best they can do is action verse. I quit. All right. Throwing in the towel. But yeah, so I want to just give Ponkrell a spotlight there. So let's go back to the slideshow here, because we've got another one here. Oh, that's true too, Bly. We could do swappable faceplates for Ponkrell. I'd be cool with that. But let's move right along. Now we got some big ones here. This is one of 2 that I think are big ones here. Do you think Jaro Tapal? We have a couple different ones now. I think Jaro Tapal is pretty realistic. I also think that there's enough demand for Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order figures to get him in here. But this is going to be one of 2 big things that are on my wish list for the 20th anniversary of The Clone Wars and the 25th anniversary of 03 Clone Wars, okay? This one here. Oh god, look at this. Quinlan for life, dude. You guys love Quinlan Voss. I have to put this out there. AAT. I believe very firmly that this could work for both the Black Series and the Vintage Collection. I think for Black Series, it would probably be a HasLab. I know. We're afraid to do HasLabs for Black Series, but give it the TPM beige. Get all these beige moms out of the chat. I'm so tired of the blue and white slander. People are like, oh, but the blue and white is cooler. That said, I did also include the shot of the beige look from the 03 Clone Wars, just to show that this vehicle does appear in both shows. So I did want to make sure I acknowledge that. But of course, the AAT. Very, very cool vehicle. I feel like it would be a really easy way to, maybe if they did it as a HasLab, including General Loathsome as a Clone Wars movie release, or if they include like a battle droid commander, or maybe just a pilot battle droid, giving you some unique characters to go with these. There's I believe two droids in the front, so this front hatch kind of pops off here. This like blue and white hatch on the front, and that's where like 2 droids sit, one in front of the other, and then there's the commander that sits up in the top. This would be such a cool release. AAT, there we go, from Star Wars Battlefront 2, 2005. this would be a release that I think would work so well for both TVC and Black Series, especially considering like the Republic Gunship HasLab, all the clone troopers we've been getting in both lines. Again, kind of focusing on the fact that like these troopers need something to fight against. And when you have a bunch of Republic gunships, you need something big on the Separatist end to fight against. I feel like they could do that. It's a small enough vehicle, and I don't remember. I know I did it when I was on 1313 podcast. I did a HasLab pitch video about the AAT. I don't remember if I did one or not for the Blitz Transmissions channel. I want to say I did. Because I know I did the Geonosis Arena Beasts as a HasLab pitch on Blitz Transmissions, but I kind of get mixed up sometimes. This release is big enough, well, I guess I should say small enough, you could fit it on a regular bookshelf. Like these shelves behind me are bookshelves I bought at Target. 6-foot tall bookshelves I bought at Target, $40 a piece. The parameters of this fit on a bookshelf. It is both short enough and, narrow enough that you could fit this on a bookshelf and it would display really, really well, in my opinion. You could also pack in figures with it. It's a troop buildable vehicle. You could get multiple of these and it would be great for a display. These show up time and time again in the Clone Wars show and in 03 Clone Wars as well, especially during the Battle of Munilence. So there's lots of synergy here with a lot of the other stuff that I was suggesting. I feel like this would be... I feel like they could do this for between $250 and $300 for Black Series. I feel like it would probably be closer to like the $150 range for TVC, because this kind of similar in size to the for TVC at least, kind of similar to the size of the Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, right? So I feel like similar pricing, things like that, we could really see this vehicle. I think it's very doable, and especially for the TVC line, I feel like it's a very necessary release. This is one that I would love. Imagine the outrage of 9 behind the HasLab paywall. Crab Droid would be cool too. That one is kind of like an in-between of the Dwarf Spider Droid and the AAT. That one would be sick. Peak Obi-Wan, what's up? Got the Reiko. Speaking of Reiko Hardeen, we talked about him on our wish list. Got Reiko Hardeen profile pic. Captain Vaughn would be a good one as well. We like Captain Vaughn. But yeah, the AAT, Tank and Quinlan 2-pack. Would you want TVC Quinlan Voss to be behind a paywall like that? I don't know. But I do think that this is something that a lot of collectors could get behind. Now, we're going to get into the big one. Now, if you saw the thumbnail, then you already know what this is. Guys, this is my big want for 2008. I think more than anything else, this is something that I want in TVC, and I'm going to say it because, again, it's like nothing off the table in my eyes. I want this in TVC or Black Series, okay? Listen, dude, the only time ever that the ATTE has ever been released was back in 2008 with the release of the Clone Wars animated line. And I would argue that vehicle is almost entirely viable to today's action figure standards. I feel like they could get away with reusing the old tooling on that vehicle, giving it a bit of an update with the paint, a little bit more detail with the paint and the printing, and get this vehicle back out here in the big 2026. That's kind of where I'm at. I think that coolest Star Wars Walker, can't change my mind, agreed. Hard agree. This is a vehicle that I think needs to be put out. Like I said, it hasn't been put out in almost 20 years. It's not like the Republic Gunship, where the Republic Gunship is, a lot of people have the argument against the Gunship HasLab. Oh, there's already 7 different gunships have been released. This is the only time this vehicle ever got put out back in 2008. Tommy is spitting. The original is big enough. I agree. ATTE is a must. Possibly the next HasLab. I think that this would be the perfect centerpiece for an anniversary year in 2028. Well. Mr. Hero Collections, 2028? Something like that. Just a couple little shows, the Clone Wars is turning 20 years old, and the Clone Wars Micro Series is turning 25. While I have you here, I figured I'll pull these up here. Some of my pickups from ICC-Con. Picked up some peak Clone Wars figures from the great Daryl DePriest, of course. Got some Clone Wars peak there. Shout out to Brandon for jumping in the chat. But seriously, guys, I think the ATTE would make the best centerpiece for this, you know? You know that meme where the guy's walking with his girlfriend but just looks at the other girl? That's us now with 2027 and 2028. Dude, I love to hear it. I love to hear it. That's all my attention right now is on 2028. I know 2027 is going to be a big year for Star Wars as a whole, but the Clone Wars kid in me, that was part of the reason I decided this topic for Blitz Barracks this month, is because of that. So the ATTE, I feel like, again, the 2008 sculpt is good enough, but I would not be opposed to an updated sculpt as, again, the centerpiece for this anniversary year. Again, there's the whole sequence in the 2008 film where the ATTEs are marching up the hill on Teth to get to the monastery at the top there. It is such a big part of the movie. It's on so many posters. It's on so many different advertisements for the film, commercials. 2028 needs to be big for us Clone Wars era fans. Joel, you had comment of the night this past Monday on Sarlacc Digest Toy Chest. With when you mentioned that same kind of line of thought. This is a great centerpiece here. It literally, for me, it's this, and I would also love AAT. But ATTE is such an iconic vehicle. Again, it shows up so much in the Clone Wars show, and you can see down on the bottom left, I also have the little slide here where it's in the 03 Clone Wars Micro Series. This is one of those where I feel like it would just be the bow on top. It's your thing to build your collection out around, whether it's in TVC or, I'm even going to say it, Black Series. I would love it. I think in Black Series scale, the thing would be damn near 5 feet long. But would I buy one? Yeah, absolutely I would. I don't know how many other people would buy it in the Black Series scale, but I really feel like it'd be super cool. Kurt, I feel like Toys Are the Way is creating a Teth display. Yes, he is. So if you would have seen, shout out to Toys Are the Way, he did a recent video on his YouTube channel where he showed a nice little diorama where it's like some really cool scenery. You have Anakin and Ahsoka with a bunch of the Phase 1 501st Troopers that TVC recently put out, and some Phase 1 clones and Rex as well. 2008 ATTE with the gunship. Brother-in-Law is the 2008 version. It would absolutely hold up to modern standards. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? It's one of those where I feel like a lot of us would be super excited about it, regardless of if it's the old sculpt or the new one. Because again, think about how many fans there are out there that had that old sculpt as well. I mean, that would be so nostalgic for me, getting a new one and it's the same sculpt, right? If the USS Flag was made, we can make a Black Series ATTE. I hope that we will see a release of Clone Commander Neo with the Bark Speeder. Long-awaited pack. I think it's coming. I think it's coming sooner than later. But, yeah, man. I really feel like this would be such a centerpiece. And I feel like such a big anniversary. And the way that it lines up, too. Like, how nice that it lines up that 2028 is both the 20th anniversary of 08 Clone Wars and the 25th anniversary of 03. You can theme so many releases. And as we've talked about in the stream, there are multi-pack opportunities. There are opportunities with retools. There are new characters. There are deluxes made to order. And now, even looking at something like this could potentially, if they don't go with the old sculpt, I believe it could be made to order if they just reuse the 2008 sculpt for this. But if they do the new sculpt, then I feel like it could be a HasLab opportunity for 2028. And I feel like as well, with the Republic gunship in 2025 being the big thing, this coming out in 2028 will build hype. It helps you to continue to build out a faction. That said, I also feel like it'd be really cool in Black Series. I could see it now. I could have an ATTE getting ready to climb the wall up the side of one of my shelves, you know, getting ready to climb the wall, get to the monastery. And if we go off our wish list, we could have our dwarf spider droid firing down from the top of the monastery there, you know? Have some other cool stuff, like some of the clones we mentioned, some of the other cool characters that we mentioned here. And again, the ATTE, I'm not, I actually wouldn't be opposed. How would you guys feel if we did something like, let's say the ATTE comes out and there's like water decals for the red markings from the Clone Wars, and then it's just the basic beige look from the '03 Clone Wars for the Battle of Munilinst. I actually wouldn't mind that either, although I will say I would prefer the '08 Clone Wars look. But yeah, that's kind of where my head goes to. Clone Wars, Anakin and Obi-Wan, Season 3 2-pack. Right there with you, dude. Bly, just remake it. Those bold have got to still be good if they weren't thrown out, like the gunship. Look at the aftermarket prices on the ATTE. Insane. Correct. Tommy, what are your thoughts on lights and sounds for HasLab and made to order? I'd love to see Anakin and Obi-Wan in TVC. Adi Gallia and Evan Peel would be great too. I agree. My thoughts on made to order lights and sounds. I understand that lights and sounds are very expensive, and that in an era right now where collectors are generally being really turned off by the rapidly increasing prices, whether the prices are coming from developments in the engineering of our toys, or whether it's from current events in the real world, prices are a constant topic of conversation now more than ever. So I feel like lights and sounds would be a big topic of conversation for collectors. And I know that lights and sounds would be something that would push that price up quite a bit. If lights and sounds were any good on toys, that'd be one thing, but they usually look and sound terrible. Now, I will say I don't mind. I personally, I would say I'm pro lights. I'm not pro sounds. I don't really care. I usually will just make the sounds myself. You guys know on the channel, I'll make the sounds. I don't have anything that I can emote with right now, but you guys know I fly my gunships around on the streams and I make the sounds and everything. I will say I do think that the lights have purpose in certain areas. Like if Hasbro did a new Jedi Interceptor for Black Series, for example, I feel like that if they included lights for the thrusters, that is a good use of lights. I don't need lights for the lasers. I don't need sounds for the flying. That's cool on things like Micro Galaxy Squadron, where the price still stays pretty low. But if it's for me as a consumer, if it's a choice between sounds and a lower price, I'm going to choose the lower price. Now, if it's between lights and lower price, it depends on what the lights do. You know what I mean? I'm willing to sacrifice okay features for a better price. Yes. Yeah, I would say that they don't do lights and sounds as much anymore, mainly because of how expensive it is to do. And that used to be a huge thing. That's the other thing, is 2000s kids, we grew up with lights and sounds on all kinds of toys. That was definitely the trend back then. Spotlights for the gunship. Now, hey, back when the HasLab campaign was going on last year, Chris Reif did say that if the gunship funded, he would not be against creating some sort of accessory pack later on for the gunship. And I think the fog lights from the Umbara arc would be super sick. But yeah, paint apps over features. That's kind of where I'm at. If I'm gonna pick between them, I think I'd prefer to have a wash or more detailed paint apps on my vehicles than lights and sounds. That said, I'm not against either. If they're done well, I won't complain. But yeah, so that's my big one, guys. I think that's it for the slideshow. Yeah, so that's it. That's the ATTE is the big one here. And I have a doggy emerging from the bottom of my desk. What's going on, puppy? What are you doing down here? Oh, he's just readjusting. Okay. Thought he was going to get up. I was going to pick him up and show him to you guys. But you guys know Cody. TD3 Trooper. Coming in here right at the tail end. What's up, brother? We're just wrapping up our wish list here on Blitz Transmissions for the anniversaries in 2028 of the 2008 Clone Wars and the 2003 Clone Wars. I wonder if the 2008 ATTE will scale well with the new gunship. I would say yes. I would say it would. It definitely scales decently with the old gunships, but Meeks. Oh, dude, I have to go into work in like an hour here, so dogs are the way. Correct. But yeah, so just to run it down again, for '03 Clone Wars, my big ones are Dirge, the Munilist 10 ARC Troopers, Anakin and Obi-Wan from Volume 2, a lot of the unique Jedi that we saw in the '03 Clone Wars, and then, of course, the Munilist 10 Republic gunship as a made-to-order for TVC. Some Separatist leaders would be awesome from the 2008 Clone Wars. Some Umbarans would be great. Some Scum and Villainy. There's a lot of unique Scum and Villainy type characters. Of course, Clone Troopers. How could we go a Blitz transmission stream without? We got the Night Sisters, a big missing hole in the line here.
Mama, I want to be made as an action figure. Mama, give me in the Black Series and the TVC.
The Absolute Goat, Zero the Hutt. Dwarf Spider Droid would be amazing. The AAT as a made-to-order / HasLab, depending on what scale you're looking at. I feel like it could be done made-to-order. And then the ATTE as well. So, yeah, the Hawkbat Battalion Clone Troopers. Those would be super easy. We literally have the tooling for that. They would just have to include a soft goods element for the poncho. Shout out Commander Cook, who made me a custom of that a long time ago. But with that, guys, that about wraps up my wish list here. So that is going to pretty much wrap up. It's a little bit of a shorter Blitz Barracks this month, but I thought it would be a really fun topic. I kind of got my gears turning on this topic the last week or two. A big part of it was, again, the Clone Wars stuff that I picked up from ICCCon this year. Here's another one here. The Rishi Moon Outpost Attack Battle Pack. I bought these from Daryl DePriest at ICCCon this past weekend, and it's things like this that just got the gears turning. I was looking at releases like that. I was looking at stuff from my childhood, like, you know, figures that I had in my childhood Clone Wars collection, buying them again as an adult, you know, in pristine condition. And it got me thinking about, you know, and then we're looking ahead at 2028. It's going to be a big year for Star Wars with the anniversaries, and I was like, you know what, let me boil it down to some of my biggest shout out Chaotic. I kind of wanted to boil it down for some of my biggest wants, not just, you know, you guys know the obvious ones, like, yeah, I want Clone Troopers, yeah, I want Commando Droids and TVC. Like, there's certain ones that, like, and that's what most people have the same opinion about. So I wanted to make sure that I gave some that I thought were a little bit out of the ordinary. And my favorite one of the bunch, I have to say, is the Jedi from the '03 Clone Wars. That's my favorite group. I would love to get those guys. And then we got Bly. Thank you to Daryl DePriest, the GOAT, for signing his TVC book. Yes, dude. We got Joel. Any predictions for SDCC as we reach July soon? Hoping for more Legacy Media reveals. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. I think that the way to look at predicting future Hasbro releases is to look at the next logical step. Look at things that have come out before and think, what are characters that would go well with these, or that have, you know, interacted with these characters that are already out now or have already been revealed. Case in point, we had the reveal of the 501st ATRT for Black Series. Looking ahead at the yet to be officially revealed ARC Trooper or Clone Trooper Dogma and Hardcase 2-pack. That's a logical step. So then we'll go on to the next. What's a logical step from there? So kind of just keeping the wheels turning. Hey, Mr. Star Wars 1138, welcome in. But with that, you know, that's kind of my... What about Hot Toys? I hope Hot Toys does nothing that I want in 2028, because they have been taking a lot of my money lately, and I've been getting a lot more into TVC and Black Series. So I've been wanting to, kind of slow it down anyway on all that. But I appreciate you, James. Thank you so much. But yeah, with that, guys, I think that's going to wrap up this wishlist stream. I do plan, like I said, later today, I'll post all the slides as an Instagram post for the wish list, and we can kind of talk about them one by one. Hopefully, you guys see that on Instagram, share it around. I'll share it in the Discord and such as well. But But with that, guys, thanks for checking out Blitz Barracks. Again, I have links to all our sponsors like Carbonites, Cube Squadron, PlasticNews.com, the Toy Hunter app. You could check out Infinity 3D Collectibles as well, our newest sponsor. I do have an editor now. We hired an editor, so video quality should be hopefully going up soon here. And then also you could check out all the links. Whoa! 212 Hunter said, you're not done yet. Let's get a little channel membership gifting going on here. So 20 gifted channel memberships. Thank you so much to 212 Hunter for gifting a whopping 20 channel memberships. You're the GOAT, dude. Always appreciate you. Thank you so much again for the super chat earlier this stream as well. You're awesome, dude. So shout out to all the people that are now members of the Rancor Battalion channel membership, like Movie Toy Tuber 8090. 212 the GOAT! But yeah, guys, again, check out all the links in the description below. If you want early content, if you want monthly giveaways, check out the Patreon, the ARC Trooper tier, $4.99 a month. If you want what Hunter was just gifting and you get exclusive emojis and chat and things like that, early reviews on YouTube, check out the Rancor Battalion channel membership as well. Look at everybody giving the 212 Hunter the GOAT in the chat here. Love to see it. And then on top of that too, guys, you can also check out all the links to the merch, you know, like this Blitz Transmissions trucker hat I've got on right now, all that cool stuff. Whoa! Phase 2 action review. What's up, dude? Commander Vero jumping in as well. Thank you, Hunter. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Get out of here, dude. But yeah, guys, with that, I hope you enjoyed the stream. I had a lot of fun doing the wish list. This was a fun topic for me to do. And of course, lots of Blitz Transmissions content coming out all the time. We got some exciting stuff planned this coming week. So stay tuned, everybody. Oh, man, you guys just won't let me get out of here. Look at that, a $20 super chat from Mr. Cassidy. Thanks for all you do for the community, Tommy. Of course, man. The fan polls, the engagement, all that stuff. I do it because I love this hobby. I love Star Wars, and I love to share it with the other people around me. So seriously, thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you, Cassidy. Thank you to also Raul and Bly, who shared super chats earlier in here. Shout out to the Blitz Brigade. Absolutely. But yeah, you guys are awesome. You guys are great. So, all right, maybe now I'll try and get out of here if you guys can let me go this time. But seriously, thank you so much. Keep checking out. I got awesome content coming in the future. And with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the stream. I'll catch you for the next one. And as always, I almost ended the stream. Chaotic clouds. You guys just won't let me leave. We got another 10 gifted channel memberships. Thank you so much. Shout out to the 10 people who just got gifted a Blitz Transmissions channel membership. You guys are awesome. Once again, it's all this stuff. It's all, yeah, this is my getaway from real life. So I'm glad that I could share it with you all and do the wish lists and do the fan streams and do the fan polls and all that kind of stuff. It's all for fun. So thank you so much, guys. I love sharing my passion with you all. So, all right, now I'm going to make another attempt. We'll try and get out of here. But again, check out all the links in the description below. Please check out all the sponsors. Please also check out Sarlacc Digest and Shadow Nose Network, my brothers in the Syndicate Network. They're doing all kinds of great stuff all the time. But yeah, so I hope you guys, I have the links to both their channels in the description. Please go subscribe to them. Yo, Tommy, before you end the stream, love your armor on your last video. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please go subscribe to Sarlacc Digest. I will be live tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Sarlacc Digest YouTube channel for another episode of Sarlacc Digest Toy Chest. Please be there. We have a great time. We have a great turnout. I think we hit almost 100 live viewers last week's episode, so please make sure you go check it out. It's a great show. We have a great time. And make sure to tell Mooch how much Lobot sucks when you guys show up on the show tomorrow night. But with that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll catch you for the next one. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Breaking all units, fire at will. Squad 2, pick your target. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. Gotta hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. Where's our reinforcements?